attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and this will be my final video for the night. So, let us begin. Whenever we last left off, Izuku Midoriya, he is at the age of 7 years old. And after completing his first mission, where he killed a bodyguard, and the father, or the man in charge of a crime family, him and Miss Carter were able to sneak out. Since Midoriya, he acted like he was a rowdy kid, getting pulled away from the party from his mother, since he either embarrassed her or did something bad. Afterwards, they went back to the Continental, and basically watched movies for the rest of the night. And had fun. Now, Izuku, or Deku, I believe I should say, since he's no longer a Midoriya, let's go on a little bit of a journey. Midoriya, he has gone on a few more missions with Miss Carter. And they've all been relatively under the table. They're all either stealth missions, or at least ones that you can perform at a distance. And she does actually leave Izuku in charge of them. Yes, she does go along with him and actually do them with him, but she allows him to murder the target and take him down. Now, the reason why she does this is because she wants the boy to have hands-on experience. She's not going to hold his hand throughout every part of his journey. And today, from Midoriya trying to at least keep count, this is going to be mission number 100. And he is at the age of 9. Or, at least almost 9. His birthday is going to be in about a week. And that's about as long as this mission is supposed to be. Midoriya and Miss Carter, they are currently heading to a place in Russia. They were put in charge and hired by the Russian mob family, or the Brodvas, I believe they're called, to take down some people who've been really annoying them. The man in charge believes that with him having a superior quirk, as he calls it, that he should be the one in charge of taking over the family for Russia. And not only has he been a thorn in their side, he also murdered this man's son. Meaning that the person who's going to have to take over the crime family now would be his daughter. And Midoriya and Miss Carter are actually put in charge of being her bodyguard. They're going to be protecting her, and if they try and pop up, Midoriya and her are going to be in charge of eliminating all of them. Now, whenever they do show up, it is quite a surprise. The man, he was expecting only one assassin. However, this lady showed up with her son. And they are actually asking about that, since you do have a red-haired lady. Miss Carter dyed her hair again. And Izuku, who his hair is dark, but he did at least put in some red highlights, so as to better blend in. Or at least look like he's from the country. Now, they are confused as to why this lady brought her son along. And she goes on telling the man that this actually is not her son. Yes, she is in charge of him and has adopted him, but they are not related. at least not by blood. So, the reason why she brought him along is because she is actually training the young boy. In fact, this is a very special mission. Whenever they get done with it, relatively, they're going to be heading back and celebrating his 9th birthday. Now, the man in charge of the family, hearing that this boy is 9, he doesn't believe that he can be a killer, let alone a ruthless assassin. So, he simply orders the boy to do one thing. They have a guy, relatively, tied up, and they believe that they can get information out of him, yet he hasn't cracked. So, Midoriya, they want him to interrogate the man and see what he knows. In fact, they have a few of them, and they're all going to be in the same room. Now, they expect Midoriya to simply just back out of this. This woman is bluffing. There's no way this kid can be like her. The Continental Assassins, especially her, she's legendary. And they don't expect much. Now, Midoriya, whenever he does walk into this room, he does see a table. Along with that, there is a face shield, an apron, and many other things, along with a pair of thick gloves. Now, Midoriya looks at those and then looks at the men, who are beaten and pretty bloody. Now, one of these men, they've already had their hands sawn off, while the others, or the other two, relatively, they're at least in good shape compared to their friend. Since their friend, yeah, he was a lieutenant, so already he is a high-ranking member, and they suspect the other two were either going to be initiated and or at least are already part of it. They just don't know very much. They just take orders, that's it. Now, the man informs Izuku that he is going to be in charge of simply talking with his men and getting some information. Now, Midoriya, he does do one thing. He doesn't put on the protective gear, nor anything. He simply takes off his jacket and rolls up his sleeves. As soon as he rolls them up, he heads over to the men and tries to ask them questions. Asking them questions in Russian, and the men, they don't do anything. They don't say anything. They simply just laugh at this young boy. And Midoriya, this is what he does. He simply blindfolds two of the men. And there is the lieutenant. He is not blindfolded. Now, Midoriya then does one thing. Walking over the table, he looks at it all. A bone saw, a regular plain, metal pin, and other things. A wrench, a screwdriver, whatever you can think of. Midoriya simply just picks up the screwdriver and the wrench. Now, he then walks back over, and the man watches as Midoriya just jabs the screwdriver down into the man's left leg, without any hesitation, jamming it down directly into his kneecap, before bringing the wrench up and slamming it down as hard as he can. The man screaming out in pain, as Midoriya grabs it and actually just twists it forwards, twisting it and then moving inward toward his leg, popping his kneecap out of place. Looking the lieutenant dead in the eyes and simply just saying that he can put that back in and stop the bleeding. All he will have to do is tell him what he wants to know. The man, quite shocked. The boy, clearly, he is not going to give up. And the man says that once he gets out of here, he is going to kill him. Now, Midoriya, yeah. He tells the man that there's not a chance in hell that he can kill him. He's been trained by one woman. And his mother is the top-ranking assassin. I doubt that. Your mother is nothing more than a common whore. Midoriya, just smacking the man across the mouth, and leaning his face in, and whispering his mother's name. His mother is Miss Carter. In fact, I do not believe I gave Miss Carter a first name, so let's do that. His mother's name is quite simple to remember. Her name is a name you've probably heard before. You've heard bedtime stories of. Her name is Isla Carter. Now, the man immediately freezes. That smirk on his face wiped away, and simply just begins to tell Midoriya that's not possible. The woman is a legend, and there is no way that she would have a child. No, I am not her son. She trained me, raised me. My name is Izuku Carter, however. Now, Midoriya just doing the one thing, putting his hand into the man's jacket and pulling out something. He pulls out a pencil and says that this will be quite simple. He expected a knife or something, but let's do this. I will release you. I will set all three of you free. I'll even put his leg back in. And you all have to fight me. Come on, 3 against 1? What is it? He's bleeding from his leg, all of you are beaten and bloody, and you're missing a hand. Yet you're only going up against this, what? A 9-year-old? It would be really embarrassing if you fell. Or even stopped. I'll tell you one thing though, if you beat me, they'll let you out of the room. He's insane, he cannot do that. He doesn't have the authority to do that. Just watch. My boy knows what he is doing. You better hope so. I don't want to be responsible for that child's death. You won't be. Just keep watching and you'll see. I've raised him well. Now, Midoriya simply just walks over and cuts each one of the men free. Then walking over and simply just grabbing all the weapons in the room, tossing them out and locking the door. It taking a second for each one of these men to untie their legs and trying to get onto their feet. Now, Midoriya, he simply just takes the pencil. He has the sharpened end, and he decides to flip it over. And he puts his thumb on it firmly and presses down a bit. This would make it easier to drive it in. If you try and just drive it in normally, with no force, it might just break. So, the way Midoriya is holding it, he can use either side. But he's enforcing it with his thumb, so it might be able to go in easier. Now, Midoriya is ready. And whenever one of the ginormous men do charge him, they do try and hit him, throwing out their hand to try and simply just punch the boy across the face. Midoriya being able to move out of the way and quickly just grab the man by his elbow, jamming the pencil in over and over and over again, with the pointed end. As soon as he does that, he simply just brings the pencil out, and then stabs it downward into the man's kneecap, before punching him upwards with his palm and his jaw, and the man actually going to fall backwards. As soon as that does happen, the other men do begin to charge in. Midoriya just doing one thing, running in and actually sliding onto the ground, being able to jab the pencil in sideways directly into the one man's leg, while Midoriya, he simply just punches his hand outwards directly into the side of the one man's knee. This man's knee bending inwards and breaking, while the other man falls onto his other one. Now, the man with one arm does try to get back to his feet. Whenever he does, Midoriya just runs in and punches him square in the face, and knocks him back onto the ground. The other two do try and get up, and rush towards Midoriya. One man simply just running over and being able to try and pick him up. They're not very balanced right now. They pick Midoriya up and slam him against the wall. Midoriya just throwing his legs up and immediately wrapping it around the man's arm. The man beginning to try and bite into Midoriya's leg. Whenever he does that, Midoriya just bites into his hand, before bringing the pencil up and stabbing it into his bicep, before pulling it out and actually being able to stab it into his eye. The man actually letting go of Midoriya. And Midoriya, he simply just runs in and actually just smacks him across the face, smacking the pencil in deeper before being able to grab it and pull it out. The man falling onto the ground. Midoriya just doing the same thing, running in and stabbing the man directly upwards in the neck whenever he tried to rush at Midoriya. And his body fell and went limp. Midoriya just picking up the pencil and shaking the blood off of it, and walking over to the lieutenants. Whenever he does walk over, the lieutenant sees him. Midoriya just stabbing him directly down in his chest and informing him that he's not going to ask nicely. He gave him an option, and he wanted to simply fight. So now tell me. Midoriya getting directly over the man, and saying, as he pulls out the pencil and stabs it down into his hand, that the fight's over. I've won. Tell me the information I want, and I'll make your death easy. Fine. You are a scary child. Truly, you are hers. That's what I've been saying. Now my information. Tell me. Fine. They plan to attack her whenever she is on her little trip. Whenever they decide to move her or go out, they'll kill her. Then, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. We know that she's protected. However, one of your lieutenants, what is it? Little man. The man saying someone's name in the organization. He is a traitor and he gave them the information they have. That is all he knows. As soon as Midoriya hears that, he gets up and does go to walk over to the door. As soon as that happens, the man tries to get back up on his feet, limping after Midoriya. Midoriya looking into the glass and spinning around, being able to bring his leg up and kick the man in the junk, before grabbing him by his shirt and simply just smashing his face into the wall, beginning to do this over and over and over again, until the door has a dent in it and is covered in red paste, and he simply just lets go of the man, who's dead. Midoriya opening the door and walking over to a sink, and beginning to wash his hands. Every man and woman that just witnessed that, they're not too sure what to say. And then there is Miss Carter, who's simply just smiling, asking again if they are unsure of her son joining them. No one responds. They all keep their mouths shut, and Izuku lists off the man who is the traitor. And he is taken care of by his own people. Now, with that being said, the mission, it goes more successful than they think. With this man dead, they are able to predict the ambush, and they send a decoy. Whenever it is attacked, they are simply able to take out the people who were trying to ambush them. Midoriya acting as a counter sniper, and so is Miss Carter. The two being able to attack and take down the opposing force. And they give, the Russian crime family that they're working for, they do give their final member one last chance, a way to redeem himself. They say that they will let him walk away if he tells them the location of their base, and he did. They were all taken down, and the man, sadly, was killed. He was lied to. He betrayed the family. All for what? Money? Power? It was for nothing. They showed him no loyalty, since he showed them none. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And yes, of course there was going to be the inevitable pencil thing. And what makes it better? Anyways, now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night.